5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch me. Level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this sauce so yummy. Know you want this yummy, yummy all in your tummy. Level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this sauce so yummy. Know you want this yummy, yummy all in your tummy. Them old mistakes are gone, I won't do them no more. That's old news, that's new news, I done did that before. I turn nothing to something, my comeback on 100. Let's talking, more action, you just gon' see coming. I just keep elevating, no losses, just upgrading. My lessons made blessings, I turn that into money. They gotta never settle, this view is so much better. I'm chilling, I'm winning, like on another level. Oh, you can talk all you want. See me as a prayer, nothing I'm afraid of, and I can have it all. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our Plan Your Year challenge. We are going to try to get everyone in, but I hope that you guys had a wonderful day, got some of your homework done, because we have things that we got to do on day 2. So we're so excited that you guys are here and you are ready to rock and roll. Bobby, I'm trying to make sure we pull the link so we can send the link out to everyone. So just give me a heads up if we've done that. And those of you who are already in the room, I just want to thank you for being here on last night. We definitely had a good time. And more than anything, hopefully you had a chance to take a look back at your business to see exactly what you needed to do for this upcoming year. So as soon as we confirm that we got the links all ready to go, we're going to get started. So at Childcare Millionaires Live this year, we did a video kind of talking about the state of childcare, but how we have the power to not only make sure that we are changing the trajectory of what we're doing, but we're also making sure that we have a plan to go into 2026. Now, how many of you know centers that closed on last year? For whatever reason, there was a center, in your area, and that they closed swiftly. They may have closed without warning. We have seen in our area that people have exited the industry. And we believe that those people who actually stay in the industry. All right, Bobby, that link that you just sent me said, that it was unavailable. Do we need to start over and come back in? Let me know. Those of you guys that are on, can you let me know if you're on our personal page or on our business page? I just want to make sure that everybody that wants to get on tonight can get on. So let me know if you're on the personal page or on our business page. We see that there are about 15 of you in. Last night we had over 100, so we're thinking that maybe we need to restart the stream. We'll wait for a few messages to come through. Okay, from the business page, the link from the email. Awesome. Awesome, Bobby. Let's try to pull that link again. And see if we can make sure that we can get it out. Thank you, Kimmy. I appreciate it. We want to make sure that everybody can make sure that we can get it out. Yay. It looks like we are having some success with getting it up now. At first, it was saying that the link was not available. So thank you, guys. We definitely appreciate you for letting us know. So thank you, guys. We definitely appreciate you for letting us know. All right, Bobby, if you can drop that link in the accelerator group, I would appreciate it. And then those of you who are on, if you can make sure that you share the video. We're going to get started in just a few seconds. So while we're trying to troubleshoot that, I want you guys to watch the video that we did at the conference, and I want to know your thoughts, right? Your thoughts around exactly what is happening in our industry.
In Health Watch this noon, thousands of child care centers are facing an uncertain future.
Millions of kids across the nation are at risk of losing access to daycare centers. This after federal government aid that helped fund more than 200,000 providers expired.
The loss of funding, one progressive think tank projects that as many as 70,000 facilities could be forced to close.
Staff at Playhaven in East Madison say they couldn't retain staff or pull any more from another location to keep up the care they've been providing for the past 32 years.
So I know the last year or so has been a little uncomfortable. Changes in policy, news clippings, all of the things that we see in these Facebook groups. One of the reasons why I chose this theme for this conference is because I want you to know that there is a sweet side of childcare. It doesn't matter what the news says. This is the time for us to get back to the sweet side of business. So if it's been a little bitter, let's make it sweet. Let's think about what we have to do in our center with our staff and make sure we have the right mindset. I am committed this weekend to give you all of the recipe to making sure that you get back to the sweet side of business. But you have to decide, are you going to take this opportunity? Are you going to stay stuck in a rut? Or are you going to say, I'm a candy girl. I'm going to bring the sweetness back to my center. I bring the flavor. I have the recipe. That's what this weekend is all about. Welcome to an opportunity to get rid of the bitter and to accept the sweet. I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, welcome to childcare. And I want you to really embrace it. You're new. Welcome to childcare land. Welcome to childcare land. Welcome to childcare land. It's on. All right, guys, and that's what we're here to do tonight. I want to welcome you to the sweet side of business. Welcome you to 2026 and everything that we're going to do to make sure not only does our business prosper, but also that we are prepared for what's next and what's coming next in our business. So we are going to get started on day 2, talking about people and processes. But I want to start by congratulating you. Hopefully you did your day 1 exercises. You did your SWOT analysis. You did your 21 questions. But before we get started, I just want to remind you of our goals for bootcamp, as well as what you can expect from us over the next few days. I'm going to see if I can add this. All right. If you guys can see the screen, say yes in the chat. Bobby, can we send the link out again? I'm just really unsure that it went out correctly. So if we can get all of the teams to help us do that, I would be greatly appreciative. Guys, over the next few days, we are going to be looking back so we can make sure that we're moving ahead in our business in a way that makes sure we're productive and we're profitable. We're also going to actively take control of our business. So some of the activities that we're going to be doing over the next few days, maybe you've done them before, maybe you've heard me talk about these things before, but I want you to make sure that you are on target for your goals for 2026. We will be using our challenge pack again today. We want to make sure that you do have that so you can do your daily assignments. Your SWOT analysis was in there for yesterday, and we're going to start today a little bit about talking about that because that was one of our assignments from yesterday. If you did your SWOT, I just want you to put SWOT in the chat. Now, the SWOT analysis, man, every time I do it, I find either another strength or vulnerability in our business. And based on the SWOT analysis that I did in December, it really helped me track the things that I needed to do the first week of this year. And I told you guys yesterday that we had our first licensing inspection the Tuesday after the break. Now, That was rude, but it was expected. I actually expected them to come the last week in December. But because of doing that SWOT, we identified some things and we had no deficiencies. So the last 4 licensing visits I had at the last 4 centers, one each, we've had 0 deficiencies. My last health inspections have a score of 100. And it's not because we're perfect. It's because we take time and we do our SWOT analysis and we identify exactly what our threats are, where our opportunities lie, where our weaknesses are, and where our strengths are. And because of doing that activity, we're able to stay highly compliant. So I want to make sure that you guys grab this, because if you grab it, one of the things that you're going to get is our compliance check sheet. And I want to go through that real quick. I believe that I still have this up from yesterday. So let me see if I do. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to move back a little bit on it. But in your VIP packet, and tomorrow we have our Q&A for our VIPs. In our VIP packet, there is a comprehensive compliance checklist, right? And in this comprehensive compliance checklist, you're going to identify some of the things that you need to do to make sure that you start this year off really well. Now, if you are a go-getter, if you are a beast, if you are highly concerned and you want to make sure that your center is always compliant, I suggest you do this monthly, but no less than quarterly. All right. And if you've used this before, you know that it will make you look at things that you hadn't even looked at. So today we were in one of the centers. We're going through the compliance checklist and we realized that our fire inspection needs to be renewed. Where I go in the system, we've ordered the fire inspection, but the fire marshal hadn't came out. How many of this happened to you guys? So we call the fire marshal, we get it done. But if I would have just went off on the fact that, oh yeah, last month we filled out the paperwork for them to come and we wouldn't have pressed on it, what if the state would have walked in that center that day, right? And so just knowing when your permits are going to expire is so important, because a lot of times it's not you who are delaying the process. It could be the state that's delaying the process. So I want to make sure that you guys take some time and you go through this compliance checklist from health and safety. It's the beginning of the year. All of your parents should be turning in new immunization records. You want to check your CPR. For us, we use the MLK weekend. We let our teachers off that Monday, but we normally assign them any online courses or classes that they need to make sure that they're compliant. We host a CPR class just quarterly, just to make sure it's compliant, because at times we get staff in at different times of the year. And because we get staff in at different times of the year, it's highly possible that you have a person who needs to renew their CPR, right? And then every state, if you look at 2.5 and 2.6, when they do your fire and your health inspection, you know how they give you that little checklist? We use that checklist as a part of our routine compliance, all right? So compliance is key. Many of our quality rating, our star rating, is now connected to how many points that we have on compliance. Even your insurance score, now they pull up your compliance history from the past 2 years. Right? How many of your insurance rates have skyrocketed over the last 2 years? If so, just put a $sign in the chat. Put a $sign in the chat. Many owners do not know that now the insurance companies, they actually pull your compliance and they look at if you are following the state rules, because they feel like if you are not and you have a lot of deficiencies, guess what? You are costing them more money. So you want to make sure that you're doing this compliant checklist. It goes through staff training, your curriculum, your screen time, your facilities management, your record keeping, policies and procedures. Literally, it is a very comprehensive thing. Now, food service. You should be redoing all of those binders for the beginning of the year, your time distribution, sign-in sheet, menu options, all of those things. You want to make sure that you take time and you do this compliance check sheet. The way that you get a hold to it is by grabbing Your Success Pack, okay? The compliance is in there as well as a business assessment. And so we want to make sure that you're ready for the new year. Then if you've done your homework, you want to make sure you do those badges. Now, second is I want to make sure for those of you who said, hey, Brandy, I did my SWOT analysis. I did what I needed to do on last night. Before we get into day 2, what did you learn from your SWOT analysis? What was one big aha that you had by doing your SWOT analysis? Let me know in the chat. Y'all know I love to give prizes. I want to know, what did you learn from doing your SWOT analysis? And then the second assignment that you had after doing your 21 questions and your SWOT analysis was scheduling a time with your team. Because it's one thing for you to be ready for the new year, but it's a totally different thing for your team to be ready for the new year. Okay? And so I want to know, what is one thing that you learned from the SWOT analysis? While you guys are putting that in the chat, we're going to do a short video. And after this short video, we're going to go into day 2.
In the pain, oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain. And God granted his request. This is the power of desperation. It propels us to do things we normally wouldn't do.
Only one night though, let the tears fall down one night. Only one night though. Only one night.
Establish your The touchdown happens sometimes 10 yards at a time, 3 yards at a time. But our goal is 1st and 10, do it again until we reach the goal line.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
All right, guys, let me know if you can hear me. I know we froze for just a second. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. It looks like our signal is back up and running good. Ms. Joyce, I was asking before we got cut off, what did you learn from your SWOT analysis while we were watching the video? Okay, you guys can hear me again. Listen, we gonna keep moving. Y'all trust me? I trust y'all. Listen, we're gonna keep moving. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys stayed on. Hey, Tamika, look good to see you on tonight. I won't try to play the video again, but I do want to know, what did you learn from your SWOT analysis? Ms. Joyce dropped hers in the chat. She said her closing team was lacking. And there are times where you'll find out, like, hey, the day runs smooth until this appointed time, and then we need to make some adjustments, right? And I know Ms. Joyce picks up kids from local schools, so it could be that her staffing needs are higher in the afternoon than that they are in the morning. So go ahead and draw. What did you learn from your SWOT analysis? Because your SWOT analysis is going to help us tonight when we talk about our staffing and our professional development plans. And even when you're doing those compliant check sheets and those one-on-ones going into the beginning of the year, really knowing that. And then the other thing that we did yesterday is we really took a look at our staff. And we said, hey, we have some people that are A players, some people that are our O players. They have a good opportunity. We're trying to coach them up. If they don't do right, we're going to have to coach them out. And then we have some people that are threats, right? And so a part of doing your SWOT analysis is for you to identify policies, procedures, and people that may be needing to be a focus. That's something that needs to be worked on, or something that needs to be removed from your actual program. So as you do your SWOT analysis, that is super important. Little Scholar says, hey, I looked through my files. I found that we had some missing information in those files. This is a time of the year where I give everybody a little, order you some red paper. I give red notices. Hey, this was what's missing in your file. And even things like your staff license, their IDs, they expire, right? So having those routine checks, but we start the beginning. Well, we start normally at the end of the year, but we're carrying it over to the beginning of the year this year. We literally go through every single file in our building with new set of eyes, with a new check sheet. And most states have a little check sheet of what should be in the file. If not, create your own. There's nothing wrong with creating your own, right? So doing that SWOT analysis was a part of our day one activities. Now on today, we're going to move into day two. And today, day two is really important because once we identify where we are, we have to also identify where we're going, what's going to happen next in our business, right? And to be honest, the first person that we have to look at is ourselves, right? We have to look at what do we need to be doing? What do we need to stop doing? And what are the deficiencies in our businesses when it comes to people and process? So day two is all about people and processes. There are two things that can make or break your business. One is people, the people you hire, the families you commit to taking care of, and the other one is processes. Now, we're going to talk about how to successfully activate both of these to optimize your business management. But if you had to pick one you needed to work on right now, would it be the people working inside of your business, or would it be the processes? Let me know in the chat. Would it be the people, or would it be the processes? So depending on where you are in business, and this is like a chart that says the hierarchy of business needs. They talk about kind of where you are in business, right? And when you're in the beginning stages of business, you're working on your people and processes, but sometimes you're just working on having enough sales, like having enough students. And then you're working on profitability. Normally, you can't even focus on order and processes until you have that done, because we just wear so many hats. We're the cook, we're the driver, we're HR, we're the parent liaison, we're the community manager, we're making lesson plans, doing copies, whooping spaghetti, cleaning up. And so until we have enough profit to hire enough people or enough revenue to hire enough people, a lot of times we are the process. And what happens in this phase of business, the processes get stuck in our head. But it comes a time where you have to bring your center to order. I want everybody to put their word in the chat, order. You have to say, I am going to strategically set things in order where everybody knows exactly what they should be doing. They're clear on their position. They're highly trained and effective, to the point where I know if you're not doing it, it's your decision. It's not that you don't know how to do it. Right? And once you can bring your center into order, then you can really start having an impact. right? And you can start growing, you can start scaling, you can start opening new locations. Now, there are people who've been in business 2 years, 20 years, 20 months, and some of us all have the same problem. Our processes are not clear and written, right? They're not easy to find. We don't hold our observations and our raises to those policies and procedures. And when we don't make our policies and procedures the basis of everything that we do, the basis of conversation, people don't respect them. People only respect what you make a priority, right? And I can prove this time and time again. What you inspect is what people respect. And so you have to inspect what you expect. If you're telling people that they should do a certain thing, then you have to have time where you actually go around and you make sure they're doing that thing. And if they're not doing that thing, then you have to hold them accountable based on your policies and procedures with written, formal reprimands. Right? And when they are following it, you got to follow up with formal ways to actually congratulate them for doing what they need to do. But a lot of times we focus on what's wrong and we don't focus on what's right. And that will also cause a breach in order. So as we're moving forward and we're talking about where our businesses are, we have to talk about policies, right? So one of the things I always talk about is your center a daycare dinosaur, right? And one of the ways you can know if your center is a daycare dinosaur is if everything is in binders and in notebooks where people cannot access them readily. That everything is done by paper. That there are no check systems. There's no way for you to see how many students are in your building, whether you're inside or outside. There's no way to see who owes you and don't owe you, right? All of the things I'm talking about can be easily accomplished if you have the right systems, right? So I want to know if you consider your center a low-tech center or a high-tech center, right? Either put low or high in the chat. And notice I didn't say medium. I want to know if you think your center is a low-tech center or a high-tech center. Okay. And I want to say this, technology is not the only thing that helps us bring order. But technology does help us move faster and sleeker and us to see things at a CEO level, right? When we don't have the right systems and technology, then we're depending on people to tell us what's going on. And that's dangerous. I can open my app right now and I know what parents have paid this week, what parents have not paid. I know my staff hours. I know if they've done their chores because they check it in and off if they've done it. So we have created some high-tech touch points. And in a few weeks, we're going to be we have a mastermind, we have Elevation, and then we have a top tier of our mastermind called Ascension. We're going to be taking them to Costa Rica for some training. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about is how to infuse tech throughout your center in ways that are easy and scalable without spending a lot of money. Okay. So I want to go over some things that will help you know if you fall in this category. If everything is handwritten, are your rules and training like in your head, in your hand only? Or do you have videos? Do you have a system for people to train for you? If staff signing in on paper, they have paper timesheets. If your enrollment forms, are your parents still doing wet enrollment forms, or are they getting a link to fill out their forms? Do you have your payments automated? Right? These are about 5 key things that I feel like every center in 2026 should have. Right? And if you find yourself not being able to check off these 5 boxes, then there may be some things that you need to do to increase your ability to be a CEO and not a CEO no. Because when we don't have the right systems in place, it causes more stress in our business. So in order for you to run a successful business going into the new year, there are 3 things I think that you need to have. One is people. This is who is doing the things that they're supposed to do. These are your teachers, your cooks, your drivers, your cleaners, your directors. Do you have the right people in the right place? The second thing you need is processes. How are they supposed to do these things? And is it duplicatable? If you go to any McDonald's in the world, I don't care if you go in Hong Kong, Beijing, Dubai, Houston, New York, Mexico, Brazil, they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to shake those fries in that basket, cook them for 2 minutes, pop, sprinkle them with salt. And it doesn't matter if you can read, what language you read, the process is still the same. But a lot of us, we hire people and we change the process based on their ability, not based on what we want to do as a company. If you agree, say ouch. We have a good written description of what they should do. And because of their ability or how much time we had to train them, we dilute their actual processes. And we find that people do less and less of what we want them to do, how we want them to do it, because we're not respecting our own processes. Right? And then there's a third thing, and that's technology. Technology should allow you to do some things with ease, right? So one of the things you need to automate is your enrollment process. When a person comes in my center, they go to my website, they book a tour, they begin to get automated messages. From the automated message, when they come in and do the tour, we mark that they attended the tour, they're ready to enroll, and they get an email with their paperwork and how to pay their deposit. Once they pay their deposit, they get a welcome letter and an introduction of who their teacher will be and what to expect on the first day. These were all things that we were doing literally by hand, right? We were doing these literally. We had to call the parent. Don't forget you have an appointment today. And our human touch points are great. But how many times do you forget? So that call never happened. And we found that just our show up rates, just with tours, by using the right technology help. Now we do the same thing with our staff. When we hire new staff, they get a welcome email and they get an email of everything they need to do before their first day. Their paperwork is now done online. And baby, if they haven't done that paperwork by the time they were supposed to come in for orientation, we kindly let them know that they must finish it before they can come in. It also gives them some prerequisite classes they're supposed to take, right? So they take SID, Shaking Baby, they take child safety and abuse. There's a video for me of what to expect of our core values. They have these things that they do before they ever hit campus, and it's automated. So if you have the great people, but you don't have great processes, then your great people, they just become opportunities. They never become A players. And if you have great processes, but you don't have any technology, what happens is you end up losing time and money, and nobody has time for that. So in order to be a very sound business, you have to have this threefold trifecta. And this is exactly what we're teaching in our ECE Learning Lab, right? How to make sure your people, your processes, and your technology are moving you along where you're saving money, time, and energy, but you're getting the best results for your students and you're getting the best performance out of your staff. So based on these 3 things, where do you need to focus on in 2026? Let me know in the chat. Do you need to focus on the people who's actually doing the stuff and making sure they're trained? Do you need to focus on the processes, making sure you actually have your expectations clear? Or do you need to focus on the technology? How to make what you're doing simpler over time? Let me know which one. I told you last year we had a people year. We focused just on our leadership team. Now we have a great leadership team. We had a leader who enrolled 2 students today. At another campus, we had a leader who did 3 tours today. At another campus, we had a leader who enrolled 2 students and is onboarding a new staff member because they're very clear on their processes. And you know what? They did that with me sick being at home. I don't just look like this because I want to. I was literally feeling like I was on my deathbed today. But I was like, listen, I'm going to take my medicine. I'm going to give it all I got from 7 to 8 o'clock. And I'm going to do that. But that was our focus last year. Our focus this year is process, right? Our focus this year is process. And I told you last night, my key focus is on enrollment, my enrollment process. Now, for some of you who are saying, man, Brandy, I don't know about you, but I need all three. At the end of today, I'm going to be going back over our ECE Learning Lab. Our ECE Learning Lab is our new program that literally helps you with systems, support, and simplicity. And we actually help you do these things. We have systems that you can plug in and play. We're going to be teaching new systems every single month that you can plug in. And guess what? They're already created. So as soon as you buy it, you have access to a full out program and portal. And then you have 3 live touch points with me and the coaches every single month. And so if that's something that you know you need to work on, if you're like Kayla, you're like, man, I need to work on all 3. I need to tighten up some things. We invite you to check out our ECE Learning Lab, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more. But in order to make sure that you grow your business, you can't be writing all these processes from scratch. It just takes too long, right? And so we want you to, combat your time. We want you to save time by just plugging in to the systems we already know that work. But the one thing that you need to do before you do anything else is you need to clarify your role as an owner. So in our workbook, and I'm going to see if I can bring it up. In our workbook, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the stage so you can see the full. Okay, I'm going to remove this and I'm going to add this. Yay. So in our workbook last night, you did your activity so far as your 21 questions, but there is an owner analysis in here, and this is going to be a part of your homework tonight. When you think about processes and people that you need, you also have to think about clearing the way so you can operate as a CEO, right? And when you're operating as a CEO in your business, you're more clear about what you need other people to do, right? And so this is a task that I'm begging you to do. If you have the new version of the workbook, it's on page 20, like Nikki said. And even if you bought it in December, if you re-download it, we just added 1 page to the front. It's on page 20 in my workbook. This owner analysis, I'm begging you to do it. In the first quadrant, it asks, what are the tasks that you're currently doing? And you can actually give your directors this and tell them, hey, you're going to do the director's analysis. Because a lot of times you think people know that you expect for them to do it, but because you haven't inspected it, they don't respect it, right? And so sometimes you have to go back and clarify what exactly I need you to do in this season. But as an owner, the first person that you need to check is yourself, right? What are you currently doing? And then it asks you what tasks are going unattended. A lot of times if tasks are going unattended, we either need technology or a system to make sure that it doesn't. It asks, what tasks can you train others to do or delegate? Can you identify those tasks? One of the main things that I delegated last year that I really hadn't delegated before, but I could not do it for 4 centers the way I did it for 2 centers, is I delegated the pre-screening of all new hires, right? And so I do not pre-screen or interview anyone on their first interview. So my directors, they pre-screen on the phone. Then they decide if they're going to offer an interview. They go through a process with the person if they want to hire them. And then they present to me a folder saying, hey, we want to hire this person. This is why. Their background check is pending or their background check is approved. And then if I like them, then I will do a final interview or I will have my executive director do the final interview. Before, I was doing everything. I was posting the jobs. I was doing the screening. I was doing the initial interview. And we were not getting through the hiring process as often, right? So is there something that you can delegate? It doesn't mean you won't have the final say. And it doesn't mean that it won't be done your way. But it means that someone else can have ownership of that task so you can keep the business moving. So what should you be delegating? And then it says, what will be your new role and task? Okay. So I already know you guys are doing too much. So I don't even want to go in that era. But I want you to answer number 2. What is something that is going neglected in your business? And I want y'all to write it in the chat. What is something that's right now going neglected in your business? Like, you know you should do it, but you just don't get around to it. Maybe it's teacher observations. Maybe it's, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's something with your food service program. But let's identify what's something that's going neglected in your business. And I want you to drop it in the chat. And we're going to do a quick activity with it. And guys, in your workbook, there are some automation checklists of some things that I'm suggesting that you automate. So make sure that you take time and do that. And you look and see if one of those things are under what's going neglected, right? Nikki said, taking a break, that cannot go neglected. You got to make sure that you take a break. But I do want to know, what's something you feel like, man, I know we should be focused on this, but you know what? We just don't always get around to it. Teacher observations. Training the new 2-year-old teacher. Okay. Okay, keep them coming, guys. Because if you have a situation where something is not being done with fidelity, and you know this is an important part of your business, that's one of the key things that you should delegate, right? So if you have a great teacher observation checklist, then that's something your assistant director can take on, or your lead teacher can take on. Maybe you do it quarterly. If you're in your business as the director, I need to know that who actually operates as the director and who actually operates as an owner, and you have a director. So if you're an owner, but you have a director, put owner in the chat. If you're an owner and you're working as a director, put both in the chat. So I can kind of see like who I'm talking to. Okay. And I want you to know that in your business, guys, as you're doing this owner analysis, I need you to realize you need 3 types of people in your business. And at any time, if you don't have these 3 types of people in your business, something will go unattended, right? So you as a CEO, you should be acting as the visionary. And what I mean by that is your job is to cast vision and to make sure that your staff understands exactly what they should be doing, that your leadership understands exactly what they should be doing, that you have set goals, from enrollment goals to student achievement goals, to staffing goals. That is your job, to be a visionary. Bobby, can you drop the link for Asia? She said that she needed to get the VIP workbook. Thank you. The second person you need is your manager. This is your directors and your assistant directors. Their job is to make sure whatever vision, whatever systems, whatever technology that you set in place is being used with fidelity. And then the third person that you need is your technicians. These are your workers, your drivers, your teachers, your aides, your cleaners, your cooks. Their job is to work the vision, right? But if I'm an owner and I'm creating the vision, I'm creating the SOPs, I'm managing everybody, and I'm also working in the classroom, guess what? I'm not doing none of that. I'm not doing none of that well. I'm not doing none of that well. You must have those 3 types of people in your business. So some of you are going to say, Brandy, I have a small center. I can't afford to just have a director right now. To you, I'm going to say, do what I did when I had a small center. So my first center was 19 students. We had 35 when we moved over to our bigger building. Y'all do the math. We were like moving people out of our preschool program to get those after schoolers, right? And so in that, what I had to do is I had to have CEO managerial hours. So if you're in a position where you're having to pull double duty, you need to make sure that you have protected time to act as the visionary and the CEO, right? And you need to have protected time to act as a manager where you're making sure people are doing what they need to do. It is very difficult to run a successful center if you're trying to be all three positions, right? So many of us get stuck in this position as manager. And what happens is we miss opportunities to apply for grants. We miss opportunities to get accredited, to better our center, because we're not working at the CEO level. So as you begin to define your role as the owner, you need to leave space in your schedule for CEO things, right? CEO things is being able to write for grants. I got an email today. I wrote for a grant in December for all 4 of my centers. 3 of my centers got approved. I knew one of them wasn't going to get approved because they don't have enough subsidy students. They have all cash pay. But if I didn't do that, that would have been $8,000 that wouldn't have came into my organization in January, because I could have been too tied up in doing director-like things, right? And so it's very important that you train those people to decide what you want to delegate. So what I will do is make sure that we have an upcoming trainer on classroom observations, because most of you said, hey, this is where I'm slacking. Because if you can train someone else in your program to do classroom observations, then you can go in quarterly, or you can go in when they identify, hey, you know what? We're having a serious problem in this pod. Our toddler room, we're having some serious deficiencies, right? In order for you to do that, you got to have systems, right? So I want you to decide what's one thing you're going to delegate. And I want you to be able to delegate it before January 15th. What's one thing you're going to delegate? What's one thing you're going to delegate? And make sure that tonight you're going to finish up your owner's analysis. But I want you to write what's one thing you're going to delegate. And as you begin to delegate, then you can clarify what your new role is going to be. My main goal as a CEO is to make sure that we're economically sound. I cannot do that if I'm teaching in a classroom. I cannot do that if I'm driving a bus, right? I just can't. So you got to leave space for yourself to do the things that's going to literally solidify your business. So what's one thing that you're going to delegate? Keep dropping it in the chat. I don't see enough of them in the chat. Okay, Bobby, take down Nikki's name. Nikki, go ahead and drop your email. We're going to have to send you a gift card because you are participating and we appreciate it. So make sure you drop your email so Bobby can send you an Amazon gift card. I love it. Kia said, I'm giving my director position and allowing her to do the work. So this is beautiful. And I want to use this as an example, Vikia. So make sure as you're giving her the position and you allow her to do the work, for everyone who is delegating, use a teach back process. So you teach it to them, you have them teach it back to you, because if someone can teach it back, then they can do it, right? And then you can figure out exactly maybe where their hiccups will be. The other thing that I like to do when I'm delegating something is I like to set an appointed time for them to ask me questions about that thing. And just know, but just because you delegate something to a person does not mean that they have to have some kind of promotion. That does not, that we have a particular teacher at one of our schools. She loves to decorate. Every month she comes to me with, Miss Woods, this is what I want to do in the lobby. What kind of budget do I have? And she loves to do it. So instead of doing nap time, for the beginning of the month, she decorates the front of the building. That's something she loves to do. That's something that not my zone of genius. I'm not a creative, right? And so as we begin to delegate things, don't feel like, oh my God, I have to give a raise in order for somebody to do this, right? And so anytime that you are training someone to do something, make sure you do some kind of teach back, some kind of procedure, so you can make sure that they understood it fully what you wanted them to do. All right, we're going to go to our staff avatar. This is in your workbook. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this on tonight. But last night we asked you in your 21 questions, what staff do you need, right? And if you do need more staff, I suggest maybe you and your directors kind of talk about exactly what you guys need based on your SWOT analysis. So if you have a lot of creatives and a lot of talking to people on your team, right? Maybe the next person you need needs to be like more calm, more results oriented, to balance out your team. But you need to really think about what qualities that your staff need. Who do you need on your team next? So that's something that's in there. But I just want to kind of talk about we're always hiring. I hear so many owners get stuck in the trap of, hey, I can't enroll because I need more teachers. And for me, hiring is an investment. Hiring is an investment. Every time I hire a teacher, I know that teacher on average can take care of 9 to 10 students. So I don't think, oh my God, I got to figure out how to pay this person. I'm like, oh my God, I need this person so I can take my next 9 to 10 students, right? So I can make my next $100,000. So for every teacher I hire, on average, they can bring $100,000 into the business. Now, for those of you who are not owners, let me clarify this. We don't get to keep the whole $100,000, right? We have payroll, we have insurance, we have rent, we have lights, we have all of the things. But if you're financially sound, every classroom should run at about a 20 to 25% profit, right? And then, of course, you're going to have some operational costs. But if I'm thinking, if I can hire a great teacher, right, I'm going to retain my students, and this teacher is going to be able to take care of 9 to 10 students. And I know the thought process, well, Miss Woods, in an infant room, I can only take 4. Yeah, but if you balance it out from your infants to your toddlers to your after schoolers, and you take all of your students and you divide it by how many staff you need, you're going to get the ratio of somewhere between 9 and 10. If you're in a state like mine who allows you to have bigger ratios, and maybe if you're in a state like Tennessee that allows you to have smaller ratios, maybe yours is going to get to like 8, right? But if you average it out over teachers, so when I'm thinking about bringing on a new person, I'm thinking about, man, if I train them right, they're going to help me reach all of our financial goals so we can make sure that we're running a solvent business. And so we're always hiring, and we think of hiring as a blessing, right? And so once you've done your SWOT analysis, you're going to be able to see exactly who you need to hire, what kind of people that you need to hire. And my philosophy is hire slow, fire fast. When we get into the habit of keeping people on longer than their time, we create a lot of T's on our team. What does T stand for? Let me know if you've been listening. What does T stand for? And we don't want T's on our team, right? We want A players. So if we see that someone is not a right fit, we're going to either coach them up or we're going to coach them out. Thank you. Everybody's trying to hydrate me, y'all. You're going to coach them up or you're going to coach them out, right? Yes, thank you, Michelle. We don't need any threats. Thank you, Justina. And so when we see that that's coming, you don't want to wait to hire until somebody leaves. Because this is the truth about it. When they find another job or something that they want to do, very seldom do they give you a full 2-week notice, right? And sometimes we're trying to hold on to something that's literally dead, right? And maybe their body is working, but maybe their brain dead. Maybe they're not passionate about their role anymore. And for me, I don't like to keep warm bodies, people on life support on my payroll. Because you're not going to help me reach our goal. You're not going to help me reach our goal of educating our students if you are a threat, of making sure that students are well supervised, right? That you're keeping policies and procedures tight. So everybody you hire is important you train, because there's a cost to hiring, right? And it's not just their paperwork. And so I always do this activity about what is the real cost of hiring. So the real cost of hiring is about $2,000 to $5,000 per person. So if you would not give that person $2,000 to be on your team, you should not hire them. And let me explain this breakdown to you. So you search applicants, you do interviews, that may take 10 hours for you to post the jobs. Then you do interviews and you do callbacks, you do background checks, and then you finally hire someone, right? So you do an orientation that may be about, a day orientation, but you got to pay them and you got to pay the trainer. And then you do their first 5 days where they should not be in a class by themselves. So if y'all are hiring people and throwing them in class, shame on you. Shame on you, because you're creating a culture of threats in your business. So can we not do that in 2026? Right? Typically, people are not in a classroom in my building by themselves for at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks. Because we don't want to create a culture of a threat. And then you have CPR or first aid. And then their first 6 weeks, they're becoming proficient. So you're still, and these rates are real low. I got to update this because you can't hire anybody at $10 an hour, right? That ain't happening no more. And then if you think about onboarding them to your payroll, your time clock, their t-shirt, their supplies, you've easily spent $5,000. So if you would not spend $5,000, if you don't think that person is worth it, why would you hire them? And I'm not talking about their worth as a person. I'm talking about you interview them and you know that they're red flags. Don't do it. Hey, Christy. You interview them and you know that they're red flags, right? Or you train them and you say, oh, they worked at ABC Academy down the street. But you don't know what kind of liability they were to ABC Academy. And so when I think about hiring, I got to know in my heart that I feel like that this person is going to produce fruit. Right? Why would I hire or plant seed in ground that I didn't feel like was good ground? Right? And so some of us have to just interview better. You got to ask real questions. Right? One of the questions that I ask everybody that I interview is, if you had a magic wand, what would you change about your last job? Now, I can't ask them directly what you didn't like, but this question opens up so many things. I found out that people have sued their job, that they got an investigation, that they called the state. Listen, red flag, red flag, red flag. Another question I asked them straight off the bat, is there any reason in the first 6 months that you would need to be off? Right? I can't ask certain questions. I can't ask if you're going to have surgery, if you're pregnant, if you're going out of time. Like, there's certain things you can't ask. But I can't ask, hey, is there any reason in the next 6 months we're looking for someone independent that you have to be off? Oh, yeah, I'm going out of town for my daughter's graduation. Blah, blah, blah. I'd rather know than not know. Right? Sometimes this is where I find out people having domestic issues in your life. I can't ask that. But if I ask you, say, hey, I moved to this area because of this and this, whatever you share with me, you can share with me. But some of us just don't ask the right questions. Another question I ask is, when is the time that you didn't get along with a coworker and how did you handle it? If a person says to me, oh, no, I get along with everybody. Lies, 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 lies. There's nobody in this world that gets along with everybody. Right? There's nobody in this world that gets along with everybody. And so these are some of the things that when you are hiring and when you are onboarding, you need to make sure. The worst thing that you could do in 2026 is not have a good onboarding process, because you're losing $5,000 every time you hire someone new. Some of your profitability is stuck in you bringing on people and then them leaving in 3 to 4 weeks, 3 to 4 months, and you're hiring another person. So you keep wasting that $5,000 over and over and over and over and over again, right? And of course, I ask questions like, hey, what's your experience, or some activities you would do, or, have them read a book, or all those things. I do all those things, but I want to ask questions that's going to knock them off their interview person, because everybody brings a representative to their interview. And that's not who I want to talk to. I need to talk to the real you. I need to talk to the you that's going to come week 10, not day 1. And if you do not ask people real questions, you will get a version of them. I'm not saying they're being fake, but you're getting the interview version of them. And Nikki and Asia, all of these questions, these interview questions are in our portal. If you're in any of our programs, I'm going to be telling you more about the ECE Learning Lab, but all of these resources are there, right? Including classroom observation forms, teacher annual review forms, classroom checklists. It is packed with all of those types of resources. So hiring is super important. So I want you to really think about in this season, we did our SWOT analysis. We did our 21 questions. We thought about who we needed. Now, as we bring them on in this year, do we have the processes and the technology that we need to make sure they do their job well? And a part of that process is a great onboarding, right? And so if you need an onboarding, we have a 30, 60, 90 in our portal. And then those are some of the things that we teach on within there. So I want to talk about how to reduce costs when you're hiring. Because how many of you need to hire going into the new year? How many of you need to hire going into the new year? And if you will, put how many staff you need to hire. At my newest campus, I need 3 staff members. Crosby, I don't think I need any. They were going to say I need 1, but we don't need any. I keep telling them. In Baytown, I need 2. And in Elite, I need 1. So right now, I need 6 new employees, right? This is the way I hire to reduce cost. Now, I'm just to give you some nitty-gritty ways I save money when I'm hiring people, because hiring is very expensive. We have 38 staff members. That's a lot of payroll. And then in our other company, we have several staff members. So, any given day, we have $100,000 worth of payroll a month. But when I'm hiring, I use this philosophy. Number 1, I like to mass hire. Even if I need 1 person, I normally hire 2 because both of them not going to make it. I keep a floater on each shift. I have a morning floater and an afternoon floater. This protects my directors and me as an owner. Because if I have a floater, they're the first person to go into a classroom. That way the manager, the director can keep doing their job and I can keep doing my job. So before my director would ever have to go into a classroom, there's at least 2 people that would have to go into a classroom first. And for me, there are about at least maybe 4 people. Like one of my directors was out Monday. One of my directors was out on today. I went in both campus as a director for half day. Once I knew the assistant director had it, I was able to leave. But my assistant director was able to stay on the floor because we were able to put the floater right in that classroom, right? So cross-training is important. But I mass hire. Another thing you want to do is maybe do a job fair. Instead of trying to interview like people over 10 days, bring everybody one day. I do an orientation meeting. I let them know about the job fair. While I'm interviewing, we do laser interviews that are like 10 minutes. They're filling out paperwork. And then we let them know that we're going to discuss all the interviews. We even run the preliminary background check. That whole process takes us about an hour and a half. We have snacks for them. They're filling out paperwork. We have 2 people interviewing. And then we can get through 20 interviews in about 2 hours. This just saves time. Then we've created training videos for our new staff. And if you don't have your own training videos, borrow them from Pro Solutions. Borrow them from your state. Every state has some kind of training portal for you to use for your teachers. Those SIDS, shaking babies, child abuse, classroom management, they normally have some of those core classes that's free that you can do. Use that as a part of your orientation. I can't hear the questions you ask, but if you put it in the chat, I will definitely answer it. All right. And then have a hero trainer that's hourly rate is less than yours. You as the owner do not need to necessarily be training every teacher. If you don't have teachers that can train or a lead teacher that can train, you have a bigger problem, right? If you want to make sure that you are able to duplicate leadership, you got to create some trainers in your institution, right? And so that may be spending some time with them about the do's and don'ts that they do when they're training. But you want to have some trainers that can train for a lesser rate than you. Now, when it comes to going over the handbook, going over rules and regulations, policies and procedures, yeah, my directors do that, but they have lead teachers that they can be in the classroom with. And then the directors can go in and level set and ask them questions. One of the things that we do with our trainees as well is when they go into the classroom, we tell them what to look for, right? We have them answer questions. How many centers did you see? How much time did the teacher spend teaching opposed to kids doing activities? How did the teacher respond to misbehavior, right? And we're going back to our policy to see if that teacher was doing what they needed to do. So we want to make sure that we require all of our trainees to submit all paperwork before starting, and they have some prerequisites that they need to do, right? And so when we do these things, we totally cut down our costs, right? So you're thinking about that wheel, people, processes, and technology. This is how you get the great people in your organization. And sometimes, guess what? You got to retrain people. And that's okay. Sometimes you need to have a retraining for your whole staff. We do a staff retreat every year where we retrain on our policies and procedures every year. That's not failure. That's just good business, right? And so I just want to make sure that you understand that you got to start with people, but people without processes don't work, right? And that's why our coaches, you will find our coaches teaching about processes all the time. Because once you get the people in, you want to make sure that they have the correct process to where that they are killing it. They're knocking it out of the park. Most people say on their job that they've not been trained well. So as an owner, you got to identify who are your technicians and who are your managers, right? Remember, you're the visionary, but you got to have technicians. These are your workers. You have to have managers. These are people who manage the workers. Who are they? Then you have to match your staff with roles. Like I say, every task that a staff member does, they don't need a raise, right? It could be something that they love to do. It could be something that you train them to do on your like doing nap time, doing procedures. I have one girl, she has superb handwriting. She loves to organize folders. Like she's great. So when we have new students come in, she does those folders, she sets it up, she does a checklist, and everybody on your staff can have a hero role. Then you want to make sure you're hiring better. Don't hire out of desperation. Give yourself time to hire. How many of you have hired out of desperation and you regretted it? Like you knew in your heart this wasn't the right person, but you hired them anyway. And you're like, oh, I regret this. We don't want that to be you. So a part of making sure that doesn't happen to you is making sure that you start the hiring process sooner and you're always taking in good leads. And then you always want to make sure you have a plan for formal and informal management, a way that you can give feedback to your staff. Okay. So in your workbook, there's also this activity where you will be actually going through and like thinking about what training you need to do for your staff. And this training is not just for your current staff, it's for new staff too. So this staffing plan, I'm gonna remove this, add this. This is how it looks in your workbook. Every single month, I suggest that you plan a staff training, a staff event, and some kind of promotion, right? So in January, we typically don't have a lot of staff like call off and things like that. But in January, we are doing referrals. So our staff promotion was about referrals. In February, our staff promotion is about loving your job, and we're giving gift cards, a $25 gift card to all staff who have 90% attendance or better, right? So those are some kind of staff promotions. We may do like if your classroom checklist at the end of the month, if you get a 100, you're entered into a drawing, or you have lunch with me. But I think that staff love to be like having an incentive. Then you want something to work for. Staff events, staff birthday party a month. We do one birthday party a month. We don't do it every birthday. But it could be a training event. It could be a team building event. But you want to make sure that you plan out these things for the year, right? That way you won't realize it's May and you haven't done anything to make your staff or your team stronger. So this is on page 29 or 30 of your book, depending on your book. This is a part of your homework assignment on tonight, right? And then tomorrow we're going to talk about our student plan and our marketing plan. Tomorrow we're also going to talk about like your revenue gap and your finances. I do not want you to go into this year without having the right financial setup, right? We got to be Army strong. And a part of being Army strong is just making sure that we have the right procedures, that we've been clear with our staff about what they need to do, that we have the right enrollment. And these are some of the things that we'll be working on throughout the year in ECE Learning Lab, but we'll also be working on our SOPs and things. So we talked about processes. These are 7 processes that everyone should start with. You can take a screenshot of this. We're getting close to our time for tonight. So tomorrow in our VIP Q&A, you will be able to talk to me. Somebody's like, can I ask you a question? You'll be able to talk to me. But tomorrow, we're going to be looking at how to create policies and procedures. So how do you not hire out of desperation, Deborah is asking. One of the ways, Deborah, that I'm really going to encourage you guys is to always hire. Like always be interviewing so you can have people on tap. I like to have a dossier, and this is why I also like to have floaters. So if I was Deborah and I had a staff person that was not up to par, the first thing I would do is promote one of my floaters, and then I would hire for a floater because then I have more time to get them up to par. Because my morning floater and evening floater, they're cross-trained in any classroom. Anytime I need to promote them to the regular teacher, I have the ability to, even if it's temporary. Even if I say, hey, you're going to go into this classroom for the next week, our curriculum specialist is going to support you. And the curriculum specialist may be the assistant director because sometimes they have that dual role, is going to support you in the classroom. Then I have the ability to do that. So I do not like to be exactly staff. That's where we came up with the philosophy of having those floaters, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I can also use those floaters. They can be full-time. They don't have to necessarily be part-time. It just so happens that most of our floaters either work 6 to 12 and 12 to 6. That way we can cover breaks. We can cover lunch. I don't need a teacher I'm paying $15 to $20 an hour as an opener, like to serve breakfast. So I like my teachers, my core staff to work from like 8 to 5. So those floaters have breakdown in the day too, but it doesn't mean they're not qualified. They go through the same training as every teacher, right? And so that's kind of, how I would approach that. And then if you're great on SOPs, then you're already training them as you go. But these are top 7. I got some other ones I want to put on here, but these are some of my top 7 SOPs when we talk about people, procedure, technology. Like you want to make sure that you have these procedures and they're sound and they're correct and they're ready to go. All right. So in an effort to take back our childcare business, I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening in Childcare Millionaires. And then I'm going to give you your homework assignment for day 2. You guys have done great. You guys have asked a lot of questions. So I know that you have been interested. So don't forget, we have a new trip coming up. We just did Daycare's Takeover Dubai. We had the most phenomenal time. We got back on Sunday. I went back to work on Monday. Next time I will put a little time in. But our next trip, we are going to Ghana. And on next week, on Wednesday, we're going to have an informational meeting. So if you're interested in that, please make sure that you sign up for the Zoom. Bobby, will you drop that in the chat? So we'll send out an email as well. But in 2027, the beginning of the year, we'll be going to Ghana. And so many people have asked me about Dubai. I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to put that back on the calendar. But we will be having a luxury plus historical trip all the way to Ghana. So if you have been wanting to go, we invite you to join us into doing that. Bobby's gonna post the link to the Zoom if you want to come to that interest meeting. You can also always go to CMA Super Trips. CMA Super Trips is our website if we have any trip that we're doing. We are a family-friendly organization, so many people will bring their families, and that is totally okay. You do not have to be a part of our mastermind to travel with us. We get that question all of the time, but we definitely want to see you in the place, all right? So I'm excited about that. And then we have our enrolled 20 students in 20 days. We will start this training again next week. It's a free training for our community. Remember, everyone in our community, we have a free membership and then we have paid memberships. And I'm going to talk to you about our ECE Learning Lab in just a second. But if you're committed to enrollment, you want to make sure that you check out that class that we're going to be starting on next week. So our goal in Child Care Millionaires is to really make sure that you, as owners and directors, can grow, systemize, and make your center more profitable with ease. So many of the things that I talked about, guys, are already in our programs. So we have a new program called the ECE Learning Lab. Why I'm so excited about this program is literally for the last 5 to 6 years, we've done trainings, we've created tools, just like what we're doing right now. And like we have like a wealth of resources and we want to share them with other owners. We don't want you creating curriculum every year. You can use ours. We have report cards in there. We have interview questions in there, classroom observation forms, compliance checklists, like anything that you could probably think of to operate your business, onboarding checklists, like all those things we've already created, and me and my mastermind were already using those tools. So we wanted to create something that can help owners on a monthly basis where they can log into a portal at any time and get the resources that they need. So we decided to open up the ECE Learning Lab, which we felt like was a better option than our old program because owners' needs have changed over the last few years. And so the goal of the ECE Learning Lab is to help you fix broken systems or just create great systems, right? To strengthen your team, to increase your enrollment, to improve your interoperability, and to use AI and technology to save time. And of course, to stop doing things the hard way. So we created a program, and I'm going to go through the program with you guys tonight. It is totally economical because we wanted to make sure that it was something that everyone can afford, no matter if they were just starting out in business or if they've been in business for 20 years. So one of the things that we will do every single month is me, one of the coaches, or one of our great experts will do a monthly training. And this is going to focus on everything from childcare, finance, and staffing, marketing, compliance, just to make sure you're running a great business, right? This is going to help you stay educated, updated, and ahead of the game without like having to Google and YouTube everything. You have a one-stop hub, and there are already about 50 classes in our portal. But every single month, we'll do an in-person touch point. And then we created something absolutely new. And this is our monthly implementation lab. Like, have you ever said, like, I want to get this done, but you just don't do it? So every month, we will be teaching a new tool. This month, I will be teaching our operational summary and our budgeting tool. Right? So this month, I will show you how to budget. We will do a budget planner. We'll look at what's in your budget that should not be there right now. We'll look at ways to save money. Maybe you need to change how you're scheduling. And that's our focus on our tool this month. We'll do a whole budgeting, and we'll also make sure that all of your tuitions that you have on paper are also in your tuition system. So we'll audit your tuition system this month. And the last thing that we'll do is that we'll make sure that you check your subsidy reports. What we do not want to happen is that you think you're getting paid for kids that you're not getting paid for. So our first implementation lab is all around budgeting because we want you to start January off right. All right. So everybody understand the implementation lab. So can you put lab in the chat? Nikki's like, listen, girl, give me the link to sign up. It's childcaremembership.com. I want to tell y'all what else is included because we tried to make sure we poured everything we could into it. Next is our ECE huddle. This will be an opportunity to have conversations with other owners and our coaches. So we'll talk about wins, what tools you're implementing, what's working and what's not, what you're rolling out next, and then we'll do laser coaching. Like if you have questions about what's going on, you'll be able to ask me and the coaches about those questions. So this is our community part of it where we're able to talk and communicate, get questions answered. You may have something that's working for you that another owner would definitely benefit from. And then we already have a full library and it's broken down into our framework. We use a framework called the PEAK framework in order to teach our owners how to run a great business. And PEAK has 2 E's: professional excellence. This is your compliance, how you run your business; employee development and retention. We talked a lot about that tonight, from interviewing to onboarding to hopefully one day retiring an employee, right? Because we want people to stay with us. Then we talk about enrollment and retention. Yes, Vikia, this is already included in elevation. Yes, ma'am. And then 8 is about achievement and financial management. So this month we are going to focus on financial management and enrollment because we want your financial management and your enrollment to sustain you for the rest of the year. So I'm going to be like championing everybody to enroll those next 20 students, right? If you think about your average student and how much they're worth, take your weekly rate, multiply it times 50. Most of the time that's somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000. But if you can enroll that student the first part of the year, you can literally, if we can enroll 20 students, we can give ourselves a huge raise. So just take a moment and do that. Drop how much you charge per week for your toddlers. Drop how much you charge per week for your toddlers. And I want to show you something. For me, our toddlers pay $185. I'm in Texas. We don't charge as much as some of you other people who are going to say $300 and something. So if I have a toddler and I multiply it times 50, that's about $10,000 a year. See, I knew somebody was going to say $385, making my little $185 look bad. What state are you in? Nikki said, I'm $235. Now take that amount and multiply times 50. We give every kid a vacation week and we close 1 week a year. So we do our budget based on 50 weeks. Multiply that times 50. All right. Multiply that times 50 and y'all put your rate. Oh, Maria, this is a good question. I'm going to actually answer that question in just 1 second. Okay, multiply times 50 so we can get your yearly rate. You should get something somewhere between $9,000 and $15,000. So Robin said hers is $230. The kid said hers is $260. Justine said hers is $552 a week. She's in New York and Manhattan. So you're going to do that times 50. I'm going to take the kids. So hers is about $13,000 a year. If we can help her enroll 20 new students, then we help her capture another $260,000. But we want to do that early, right? So we're going to really be focusing on budget and enrollment. And so you need to think about what would enrolling 20 new students mean to you? But many of you, what you charge per week, you can have access to our membership for that for a whole month, just for like less than 1 student. So let me get to the price and the things like that. So our old Lifetime Accelerator membership, that portal will remain open for you guys, Maria. It's about 27 of you that have that old Lifetime membership. It will continue. You will have access to those things, but we won't be putting anything new in there. But we do have something promotional for you guys that want to convert over to the ECE Learning Lab. Okay. And so we'll reach out to you and tell you exactly what that looks like. But for the first 2 months, you don't need to do anything because we're going to include you guys in the new program so you can get a taste of it, because we do appreciate you guys for being lifetime members in that old program. And what we promised in that old program is that, you guys will have lifetime access to it, to all of those materials. And if we ever shut down the portal, we would download everything and make sure you guys get it in a Google Drive or something like that. But we are going to have like a rollover period for you all. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Maria's been with us for a long time. So I love the fact that those things are plug and play. And then we're going to be doing some micro trainings. Like sometimes you need to know how to do something, but it ain't an hour training. Like, Brandy, how do I raise these tuition rates? Right? That's like a 15-minute conversation. Or like, how do I automate my tours? Or how do I fix my staff attendance problem? So we're building out a set of micro trainings like podcasts. And we're really excited about those. The first one will drop this month. And these will be like on-demand trainings. Where we will have the ECE Learning Lab too. You can actually download the app and you can listen to it like a podcast. So sometimes you need just fast answers, fast action. You don't want to listen to something for an hour. We're also going to be putting in some social media templates, probably quarterly at this point, where you don't have to pay for all of those templates. We're going to start off with about 30. And then we'll add some in quarterly as well, just so you can look professional online. Yeah. So we're really excited about that. And then our AI and our technology integration. Y'all know I love AI. I love technology, but I only teach on it like once a year. So this will give us a chance to actually talk about AI and talk about the other tech tools that we use. And then also bring some of our partners in that are willing to give us free trials and bonuses as an association. And so just making sure you're not a daycare dinosaur, that if you notice that we're working on people, processes, and technology here. So you have access to all of these things, a monthly training, an implementation lab where we're actually teaching a tool. We've never done that before. The ECE huddle, we haven't done that before. You'll still be able to ask questions. We just used to do a Q&A. And then you will have access to the vault, the micro training, the social media templates, which is new. And so we added some things in to make it a little bit easier. So this is the price. This is what everybody wants to know. So the accelerator, this 2.0 is $197 per month, or you can do $797 for the entire year. As a bonus, if you sign up in January only, you also get a ticket to our conference. Now, the ticket to our conference is $797. So it's like a 2-for-1. You're getting a lot of love. You're getting the membership for the entire year. And we really wanted to only do a yearly membership model because we don't want y'all thinking about it. But literally, this is the cost of less than one student for a year's worth of access. Like, it's a great benefit. And because we know that people are touched, if you've ever been to one of our live events, it's nothing like it. I wish I could explain to you what our live events are, but you can't even feel it until you like get to one. At this time, Nikki, we don't have a lifetime membership anymore. We may bring it back, but we want to try out this program and make sure that we know like how effective it's going to be before we do, not effective. If we want to change anything before we do a lifetime membership. Our old program, we've had it for over 5 years, but we find that it's not just what our owners need. So we wanted to spruce it up. So we do a live event in May, and we do a live event in November. I think our May dates are May 12th through the 16th. Somebody may have to help me with that. It's always the weekend after Mother's Day. Let me get it in my mind. It's May 14th through the 17th. And then again in November. And you get to choose which one. November is the 12th through the 15th. You get to choose which one. So it's no pressure. No pressure in which conference you get to come to. But that bonus is just for people who sign up in January. Our conferences are typically in Houston. So we do other things, other places, but our big conference is typically in Houston. Yeah. So yeah, childcaremembership.com is where you want to sign up. We wanted to make it as low cost as possible. So literally, if you do the yearly membership, it's less than $100 per year. Plus you get a ticket to the conference, which we feel like that's definitely, the best deal, the best way. So just so you can see a little bit of our conference, I'm going to try to play this video again. It didn't work earlier because of my internet, but it's amazing.
Pain, oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain. And God granted his request. This is the power of desperation. It propels us to do things we normally wouldn't do.
Only one night though, let the tears fall down one night. Only one night though. Only one night though. Only one night though.
When you're desperate, no doesn't stop you. And some of you stop too much. The family came in and said, we're not ready yet. Okay.
Only one night though. Only one night though. Only one night though. Only one night though. Joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning.
When it looks like, man, this is a setback, it's really just a setup. And so when you reestablish your goals for this weekend, my real question to you is, are you ready to win? Because yesterday's winning don't look like today's winning.
Wait for them to get with me. Feeling like a brand new day. I gotta say something to them, y'all. Say, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Looking like a brand new day.
The touchdown happens sometimes 10 yards at a time, 3 yards at a time. But our goal is 1st and 10, do it again until we reach the goal line.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Get up, get up, get up. Good morning. I can see a brand new day. Looking like a brand new day. Looking like a brand new day.
Don't curse the blessing because the fruit is heavy, but organize your anointing to withstand the increase. Listen, God has called you to do what you are called to do. Proverbs 31 woman, you're called to be a boss. You're called to be a philanthropist. You're called to be an investor. You're called to carry all of these things. It is literally in the DNA and fiber of your being by nature who God is.
I'm telling y'all, conferences are amazing. Not only is it a chance for us to communicate and, get together, but we get information, education. And if y'all saw anything about our Candyland, our last conference, I'll play some of those replays tomorrow. It was amazing. So you do not want to miss out. Yes, we are a Christian-based organization. We don't throw our beliefs down anyone's throat, but it is the primary basis of our organization. And we believe that the promises of God are yay and amen when it comes to our business. And we want to be integral and also run our business off Christian principles. I definitely can tell you it was only by the grace of God I'm standing here tonight. Because when I tell you I could barely breathe 2 hours ago, Bobby was like, how are you going to make it? But, we made it. So our next conference is in May. And then we have a conference in November as well, right? And so I'm so excited about that. So this is your homework for tonight. You're going to do your owner analysis. You're going to make sure you do your staff avatars and then your staffing plan. That's what you're going to do tonight for your homework. You need to make sure that you have your workbook. Your workbook is going to help you make sure that you can do those things with ease. And then we have been sending out the replays. Remember, we keep our replays up until Sunday, and then they'll only be available to people who get the VIP. On tomorrow, we're going to be talking about profit and planning. We're going to be talking about making sure your business is profitable. So day 1, we took a look back when we set our goals. On day 2, today we talked about people, processes, and a little bit on technology. And on tomorrow, we're going to talk about profit and annual planning. On tomorrow at 12 noon. Thank you so much, Vakia. I really appreciate that. On tomorrow at 12 noon, we'll have like a Q&A. Y'all, the only way we won't have it if I'm not feeling well, but God gave me strength today. I'm sure he's going to give me strength tomorrow. But during our Q&A, we'll talk about the way that we approach some of these things, and we'll also talk about some of our plans for ECE Learning Lab. We want to support you this year for the whole year. We definitely want you to win. We want you to feel very encouraged. Even the more and more that we put ourselves in a position to learn, to focus on what we can focus on, then we put ourselves in a position to win. So thank you guys for being on here with us tonight. We hope to see you guys in the ECE Learning Lab. But we are so appreciative that we had this chance to plan with you. So tomorrow is our last night. And don't forget to make sure that
every day that you meet somebody who really wants you to win. I think what is so amazing about Brandy is that even when she came to me with this vision, it was really out of a frustration of trying to launch our child care centers and running into established owner after owner who refused to help us. And so Child Care Millionaires was really birthed out of a place of frustration, but then out of a place of truly wanting to share what it was that we were blessed with others so that they would not have the same struggle.
This is my 5th conference with the Child Care Millionaires Association. I feel like each conference, each year, I grow a little bit more, I learn a little bit more, I become a little bit more successful in my business and personally. One way that I see that they help us wing it to win it is by having a personal touch. Brandy, Coach Condi, Coach Natalie, Coach Tamika, Coach DeShannon, all of them love to be very involved with the attendees and the participants of the organization.
I love Brandy. I love Natalie. They have pretty much spoken to my wife and told her exactly the same things that I've been saying for years. So I greatly appreciate them. They're now part of our family, you know?
It has been an amazing journey being part of Elevation Masterminds. They have been an amazing partnership with us. They have taught us so much. A lot of great things for our business, a lot of personal things to grow myself as a CEO. Thank you, Elevation Masterminds.
I am back for another wonderful conference at Child Care Millionaires Live, Houston, and my experience with Elevation has been winning. I've grown from the first video conference in 2020 during COVID, listening to Brandy, getting the ideas, the camaraderie, the sisterhood, knowing that I can do this, gave me the confidence to keep moving.
When I started Elevation Mastermind, when I came to the conference, I didn't have any type of direction. I just heard this Child Care Millionaire thing, and I felt like that's where I needed to be. I needed to experience it. I heard it on the computer enough, and it was just time for me to be in the building because it just seemed like the energy was amazing, the people were authentic. It just seemed like that. So I was like, I have to see what this is really about because, you know, TV, it can seem a little fake sometimes. But when I got here, they had me in the middle of the floor crying because they was ready to help me, hold my hand, support me, and be there for me on my journey. I noticed that when I was in the middle of the floor, I had my sisters circle around me to support me and be there to help me get through this journey. I came here not owning a center and just wanting to have a center and working in my mom's center that I love dearly, but I had put my dream on the back burner because I felt like I wasn't doing what I needed to do for my family first, and I had to keep putting them first. But sometimes you could put you first and still take care of your family and make sure that you're living your dreams. So after signing up for Elevation Mastermind, I got the whole pie, not the slice of it. You know, the conference is just a slice, but Elevation Mastermind is the whole pie. I got the coaches calls that would just help me figure out where I wanted to go. I got the accountability partners who would check on me and make sure I was good, not just in my business, but in my personal, in my mental, in my emotional, and even in my spiritual. I have sisters praying for me, hoping and wishing that I win with them. So what are you waiting for? Because we want you to win. Like, no, for real, we want you to win. You should come, join us.
We want you to win.
We want to see you win.
We want to see you win.
Have you heard? Your losing streak is over. At Childcare Millionaires, we want to see you win. Welcome to your winning season.
I can tell you for a fact that Brandy really wants you to win. And it's one thing for people to say it out of their mouth. It's another thing for them to literally put their effort, their support, and their action where their mouth is. And I think that over the years, we've seen Brandy do this time and time and time again. And so I can tell you there's not a better coach, there's not a better cheerleader, there's not a better advocate in childcare than Brandy Wood Smith. And I'm not just saying that because she's my sister.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Make sure you do your day 2 assignments. I definitely want to see you win. We hope to see you in the ECE Learning Lab. You can access that through childcaremembership.com. Bobby, can you also send out a text letting them know the ECE Learning Lab is open? And the free ticket is for people who sign up on this promotion. So thank you guys so much. And we cannot wait to see you in there, Karina. Thank you. We cannot wait to see your name. We expect for us to have a great year. Thank you, Nikki, and all of those of you who will be joining us. So guys, we want to see you win. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow night.